First of all, I'd love to thank Con College and TED Talks for allowing me to speak. It's quite an honor. My name is Onasis Parungao. My specialty would be Chinese martial arts. I'm local here in Gales Ferry. My bulk of my training was probably San Francisco Bay Area. And my wife and I, we moved here. And for posterity, I'm teaching the styles here. In preparation for this speech, I started thinking about who my audience was. And I started thinking, am I preaching to the choir? Are they martial arts professionals? And I know that many of you are learned academics. So I wanted to make observations in Kung Fu that may help just anybody and everybody. That also relates to my style. And I have to wrap it into genius, right? So we have to make this work. My first observation in the past 30 years is about walking, okay? So lots of people, when they're walking, did you ever stop to realize this? Walking is a process of falling and catching yourself. Falling and catching yourself. So if any one of you were to sweep me right before my foot comes down, I'd go down. I'd be in trouble, you know? And so what do we do, right? So in a style like Tai Chi, for example, you lower your level, put your foot out there, shift your weight first, and then transfer your weight, right? So it looks like this, right? And then it goes backward. So you're never out of balance. Now, this is fine and all dandy when you're moving slow, right? Sometimes you're moving quicker. In Chinese martial arts, sometimes they call us chicken legs, right? Now, in Western culture, if you say chicken legs, it means scrawny legs. If you say chicken legs in Kung Fu, you know, it's kind of like, you know. And a chicken represents an animal that's fast and balanced, okay? So it's not a scrawny thing. Now, if you were to see a chicken kind of going like this, you know, it's time for chicken to go, right? It's just the way it is, okay? So some examples of the two. If I were doing one of the styles I do, like Hunga, for example, right? You will notice a little lower. Allow me to demonstrate, okay? So it might look like this, you know. Oh, look, the rug is moving, okay? Good thing I have balance, right? If we were doing Tai Chi, and you guys may have been testing me with that, right? So you kind of felt it may not good. So Tai Chi I call it graduate level work, okay? Why? Because when you're doing things slower, you're much more vulnerable to catch the mistakes. We start from a stance called Wu Ji. Wu Ji means empty, okay? Empty stance, empty footwork, empty mind. You lift from the top of the head, your feet at 90 degrees. The space between the index finger and thumb is called the lion's mouth. And you lift from the top of the head, chin down. Tongue is on the upper palate behind the front teeth. And yes, you have to think about all those things first. And then you clear your mind. A thought forms into your head. You fill the dantian, this area right here. Lower your level. Now you notice, as I move my feet, the hands don't deviate. They just keep moving. And the way you're able to do that is by not losing balance. I'm sure my peers in the field will say, that is the shortest form you've ever done. A full Tai Chi set could be 20 minutes, so we'd be here all day if we were doing that. The joke on Tai Chi sometimes is they say it's China's national form of exercise. So you know what the joke is? 1 billion people can't be wrong, right? Everyone's doing it. Okay, need to move on. I keep making my jokes here. Knees. Since we have to bend and we have to balance, knees are a susceptible part to injury. And this is an important place for me. Oftentimes students come in and they say, I have bad knees. What am I going to do? Who sent you to me? How'd you find me? When you go to a doctor, for example, and they tell you, okay, you have a knee problem, then they're going to fix it, or they'll do, arthroscopic surgery. My wife was in the crowd. She had a ACL, and the doctor tells her to strengthen the muscles around the knees. Okay. What do they send you to do eventually? Physical therapy. And then what do they send you to do after that? People like me. Squatting is one of the best exercises you can do. Now, I'm not talking about like full Olympic squat. I'm just saying, just bending. Now, here's the problem where people get in trouble. When you're bending your knees, in general, for everyday practice, the general rule is don't let your knees go past the toes, okay? And here's the part where I have to warn people. When you get right there, that in-between place, between low and high, okay? So when I'm low, look where my weight is. It's right here. It's not on the knee. And that's where people get hurt, is in that in-between range, okay? So who gets away with doing this middle stuff? Light people, lighter than me, young people. But eventually what happens is, if you do lots of bending over, or, so you see this in Kung Fu a lot, the stance is really low, or it's up high. I'm talking about, right there. I don't want to even do it too long, okay? Those little micro damages that you do will add up. And here's another observation in Kung Fu, interesting factoid. If you have an injury that takes a long period of time, like repetitive stress injury, right? And this goes with people, like carpal tunnel or whatever. Micro damages that happen over a long period of time take a long time to heal. Conversely, bruise, charley horse, pulled hamstring, it heals very quickly because the duration of the injury was short. Okay, so there's that duality going on. Now, one last thing about being down like this. Because you may say, I don't squat very often, or I have trouble doing it. One hindrance for people, other than weight and lifestyle, okay, is I've encountered, and this happens mostly with women, it's called a foreshortened Achilles heel. And so if they're wearing heels, this becomes shortened, this area right here. And so it becomes harder for them to squat, And so the answer for that is to stretch your Achilles, right? So, some people put it on a curve, or a wall and do this. One way you do it is you always want your natural body weight. So if you can sit like this, just lean forward and stretch your Achilles, okay? And what we like to say in Kung Fu is put drops in the bucket. So, my Sita would always tell me this, put drops in the bucket, eventually the bucket will fill up and you keep going, okay? Dump it out and start again, okay? Now, another question I ask about knees is, make sure it doesn't slip here, okay? I tell the person, oh, you have creaky knees. Do you climb stairs? There's a bunch of stairs right here. Yeah, I have a few flights of stairs going up to my apartment, or I climb stairs every day because I don't want to take the elevator because I'm trying to get healthy. Unbeknownst to them, they may be doing something that's injuring them every day, bit by bit. Now, are you the type of person that trudges up the stairs, or do you lean forward and put your weight in the proper place? So, you guys don't mind, I'm going to step on this chair, right? So, don't lift from the heel. You want to lift from the middle and the ball of the foot. So if you try to climb like that, obviously the step is a little lower in height. You get hurt. And those are little micro damages. You'll feel it right here behind the patella, right? So you want to go like this, and you want to lean forward and push up, okay? Now, people will naturally do, the human body is really interesting. People will naturally do what they need to do in order to move, right? I've never heard any of my students or anybody say, oh, I got a knee injury. Oh yeah, how'd you get it? I was getting up off the toilet. Right? What? No, nobody says that, right? So what do? They're done doing their business. They put their feet underneath them. They lean forward and they stand up. Everybody does that. You guys all do it. Everybody does that. I came up with one example of a person that doesn't do that, and that would be a pregnant lady, right? So she'd have to get up like this. But for the most part, no one does that. So if you look at what you naturally do already, you will protect your knees, all right? Okay. Moving right along. Another observation or aspect that we make, okay? In a style like Tai Chi, we make 5 bows of the body, okay? 5 bows. And you want to think of a bow as, long bow. You want to think of the duality, okay? So when I pull it, yes, there's resistance going this way, but it has a resistance to want to go back. So it's a bow, right? And the way we make a bow is, 5 bows of the body is there's 4 limbs, and you open up the armpit points, and you go like this, okay? And I'd like to call somebody up here to help me real quick, demonstrate. I'd be happy to do another person if you want. Yeah, I asked this gentleman right here, Benedict. He's not a student of mine, but okay. Benedict, do you mind? You're pretty upset? Okay. Can I have both of you do it? Okay. Hey, what's your name? Jim. Onassis, like the millionaire, no relations. All right. Come over here, Jim. Wow, you got ninja boots on.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, your goal is not to make me look bad, right? So here. All right. Listen, all I ask you to do is just try, right? And this talk is not about beating people up, right?
Yeah.
I do that on a regular basis somewhere else, right? This is accurate. Yes. Okay. So 5 bows of the body, right? Let's try to do this first. This is about 5 bows of the body and rooting. So take your feet about shoulder width apart like this, okay? And just stand straight up, okay? And, legs locked out, right? This is how many people might stand. They're like this. They're not thinking about rooting themselves to the ground, right? Yeah, and I just go like that, and there you go. Pete, right?
Jim.
Yeah. Benedict, Pete. I'm meeting so many interesting people here, okay? All right. Jim, all right? So this is not rooting, all right? So go like this and lower your level like you're getting ready to jump. Too much. Your knees are going down, right? So just lower your level so that you feel heavy right here, okay? Okay, back straight. Think that your head is pulling up, okay? All right, open up your armpit points, okay? just relax like that, right? And just think 5 bows of the body. So his knees are like this, okay? Now, try this. Now, don't look down anymore. There's no one down there, right? So stretch up higher with your upper body, and your lower body's doing this. So what we have is this duality that does this, all right? You with me? No. Just think that your body's elongating, all right? Almost like yoga, right? So just think like that, right? Okay. So I'm going to go like this. Stretch up, okay? And then sink down with the waist, right? No.
From there, like this?
Stretch up. Stay there, okay? So I'm doing this, okay? And you have this duality fighting, right? Okay, so, okay, no, stay there, right? So, we have another property that we talk about. In sinking, there is rising. So, assuming his sweet spot, you know what I mean? His center of gravity is right there. Okay? It could be better, okay? It could be better. Assuming his center of gravity is in the right place, okay? Remember these words, in sinking, there is rising. So, a lot of times in Kung Fu, what do we mean by that, right? So, a lot of times, Jim goes, the proverbial Jim, right? Says, if low is good, lower must be better, right? So get a little lower. Notice his knees are, no, that's too low. Just get a little lower so your knees, right? So now you feel the pressure in your knees, don't you?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, right? So get up again, right? So what he had done effectively is by sinking, over sinking, right? This attitude of lower, right? That's like a young person that says, 1 beer is good. 12 must be better, but that's not true, right? By rising, and he's in the lower spot now. He's ruined the sweet spot. By rising, he has effectively lowered. So in rising, there is sinking, right? So it started off the sweet spot. In sinking, there was rising. That ruined the sweet spot. In rising, there is sinking, okay? So if he's there again and he's stretching again, so I'm going like this, right? Okay? You understand? And now when he returns back to standing up normal, so put your feet together a little bit more. Like this close, like that, right? And lock your legs out. So now he's back to neutral position and he's ready to knock him over again, right? Okay. So when I talked about falling, I'd like to expand upon that real quick. So falling is like a tree coming down like this, right? So all I want you to do, me and Jim, we're the same, right? It's just kind of fall to the side, right? That's how a lot of people move. They fall, They shuffle, right? So I'm going to stand here, and then you put your foot out, and you basically just try to fall to me.
Fall on you?
Take a step.
Oh, okay.
Take a step. So I'm not going to let him do that right away, right? So, okay, put your foot back. I want him to lower his level first to the sweet spot. Put your foot out to the side first, more, right? And then fight through me. There you go. You understand? So effectively what's happening is, all right, the imagery you're looking for is instead of falling at your opponent or falling at the person, it's like a slide. You're lowering your level and going like this. All right, do you understand?
Yes.
That makes sense? Yeah. Right? So that's how you want to lower your level when you move next to somebody, all right? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Give a hand to Jim, all right? Peace, all right? So I got to conclude this, right? So where does the genius part really come in, okay? And how I tie this together with Tai Chi and the Kung Fu. Well, if I were a solo martial artist and just worrying about health, the meter, the barometer is, am I getting healthy? But if you're in the martial world, like I am, the litmus test is how you apply your concepts towards live opponents. And there will tell you whether what you're doing is working and what is not working. Okay, it's the ultimate exchange of information. You exchange with your peers via tournaments, discussions like this, seminars, workshops, and people will call you on it. Okay? I'd like to thank TED Talks very much and College for this great honor and opportunity to speak. I wish you all well. Thank you.